Welcome to The Wedding Wear with Officiating by Amanda. The Wedding Wear, they married now and partied later. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Wedding Wear, a podcast where we tell the stories behind the ceremonies, the love, the relationships, and let's face it, every wedding has a story and every story deserves to be told. Before I dive into today's episode, I want to acknowledge that, yep, it's been a while. Again, I really intend to keep with weekly, do some bulk recordings and put them out bit by bit. But yeah, life has certainly just gotten crazy. The spring wedding season has been insane. Add on top the house projects, the baby, and the absolute insanity at my normal 9 to 5. So I can't make any additional promises that we're going to have weekly episodes or that I'm never going to ghost for 2 or 3 months again. But I'm trying. And any week that I don't put out an episode, please know I am definitely thinking about it and it starts nagging away at my head. So keeping on track of things is going to keep getting more and more fun, I'm sure, towards the summer and my due date. But we're rocking with it. We're trying. And thank you for being available and around. Every single time I see a listen come in, it's just more motivation. It's another one of those nagging things to get back on the mic once again. So coming in, today's episode of They Married Now and Partied Later is kind of highlighting across a wide variety of weddings that I've done that have been more and more common. It's a very meaningful shift, not just a trend, for how couples approach marriage. If you were in the world during 2020, you were impacted. Like, who was not impacted? But you probably remember the rise to what I am calling this kind of marry now, party later, twofer kind of weddings. In COVID, it was born out of necessity. The restrictions, the uncertainty, the illness, the changing guest counts, the venues. Pivot was the key word, and everybody had to do it. And couples really realized either they already had their marriage license and it was going to expire, so they had to get it signed right now, or that some of the complications with the global pandemic meant that if you weren't legally married, there might be some hardships or adjustments you needed to think about that you didn't previously. So again, another reason for a legally needed wedding. And some just didn't want to spend time apart. You were quarantining together. You got to really know one another and realized, yep, this is exactly how I want to spend my days. And instead of waiting for the world to right itself or to get better, to say, yes, we'll do a wedding. Yes, we'll host this. Yes, we'll spend lots and lots of money. When everything is so uncertain, you just say, we'll do it now. And these weddings were sometimes in a backyard, sometimes over Zoom, sometimes with just one witness. And oftentimes, if you'd wanted something bigger, the plan had always been something bigger, then you kind of put it on the books. This was the marry now intention, and we would party later on. But I'm even seeing that even with COVID gone, this trend hasn't ended. Still getting people who, for a variety of reasons, are choosing to get married first and do a celebration later. Absolutely nothing to do with a global pandemic knocking surfaces that it's not on the way back in. So let's talk about the why, because there's a few of them. So sometimes it's family related. Maybe there is an illness between the couple or an immediate family member that really puts life into perspective, that you shouldn't wait. You shouldn't waste a day. You should get married. Getting married for the need of health insurance, getting married because you want to make sure that grandma or grandpa could see you get married and they are currently very ill, or something joyful like a baby on the way, or something family but also job related like a deployment. A lot of soldiers and service members will take the opportunity to get married when they are home on a brief leave. And then once they've gotten through basic or additional training, once they're more stable and stationed, maybe even after coming back from their first deployment, when they have more leave time accrued, they would be doing something larger and more of a party. Sometimes it's financial. We all know weddings are expensive. Sometimes you got to wait for the budget to catch up with the vision. But again, you don't want to put off the big milestone in your life that you've been waiting for. And sometimes it's actually easier to pull financial resources together as a couple if you are married. Things like taxes, health insurance, some decision making that needs to happen that then has financial ramifications and impact is all a lot easier if you have that legal documentation to say that you are married. I have had couples who financial was definitely a reason, but it's more so the future financial security. So it's kind of the family and the financial tied in together. Like if you were to pass tomorrow, you want to make sure that your significant other is taken care of. And the best way to do that is to be married, let the finances benefit one another. Sometimes it's personal. You don't want to be the center of attention. Your parents are really pushing for a big ceremony and wedding. So you want to do this more private wedding for you with the vision that you have for it, and say personal vows and make it really, really easy. And then sure, whenever the funds come together for a bigger wedding, whenever the country club is available, do the more formal, what grandma and your parents and your friends expect of you, and put on the big dress or a tux. Do the seating chart, but being able to have a moment with an elopement that is very private, very personal, and then throw the party. As an officiant, or really as any wedding professional, this creates a very unique opportunity because you're not working with a couple planning just one moment. You're navigating two. You're navigating the now and the future. And also knowing that the future might get scrapped. I've had quite a few where the party later never came to be because the finances never got there, or because the couple went forward with living their life just like they wanted to, and it didn't make sense for them. And it's okay to be in the starting off space and dreaming of what the second is, but don't lose the foresight to like what the now is. Make sure that you have perspective on both of them, that if the couple has a song that is super special to them, yeah, we can play it now. We can play it then. We can play it both times. Because if there's too many of the personal details or the really impactful items that they are putting off to the later, as we learned, later's not promised. So trying to navigate in both of those spaces without making the first one just as important and super high elevated that they say, well, heck, why are we even doing a second one? So giving each their right and proper space, but making sure that if there's elements that absolutely have to happen for the couple, getting them to happen, and maybe have them happen twice if it's fitting. So let's start with the first wedding, the first ceremony, the legal one, the intimate one that we're doing it now, is often small, very small. At times, Pennsylvania does not require any witnesses, so I've done many where it's been myself and two people and a marriage license. The tone is personal. There's more emotion, more vulnerability, less worry, less of performance. Outfits are simple. Makeup is simple. You're not paying oftentimes oodles for your hair to get done. You've got a friend maybe as a photographer, if you have anybody capturing it at all. It's a commitment. My role in these Marry Nows are less about guiding a crowd or performing to that audience and more of speaking to the couple and asking reflective questions. If they want to do vows, let it be handwritten. We're not worried about perfection here. We're not worried about you stumbling over words. It's literally you, me, your spouse, and the trees. Silence, totally fine. Emotions, tears, totally fine. I won't be talking over them. I don't need to. It's about the substance. Even if it's just the 3 legal lines and a ring, and I sign the paperwork. Letting those elements have the weight that they legally need to have, and for the couple, do emotionally have. Then we get to the next part. Those are the celebrations. It's the woot woots, it's the hoorays. It is often the point of the most stress, but it's everything that the couples really dream of. And here's where things get interesting, depending on how the first part went. You might be in a room full of people who may or may not know that the couple is already married. Sometimes they let everyone know, yeah, this is our reception. This is our part 2. This is what we're doing for you all. The public side of the marriage and the ceremony, if you will. Other times, nope. They have no clue, and they are not to have any clue at all. And then it becomes on me, the officiant, well, how do you broach this? Like, do I still say I pronounce you husband and wife? Or because you've already been pronounced, do I rejoice that you are husband and wife? What do we do? So there's an option of full transparency. Either the couple's already told everybody or they're good with me letting the cat out of the bag. Sometimes I really like when they let me let the cat out of the bag. There's a lot of what? Shock and awe, which is a lot of fun. So if I get to be the one, I put it right into the script of, I could marry you today, but instead I won't be because you've actually been married for a year now. And I let that sit. And they go, what? And I explain that today you're celebrating your love. Today you are rejoicing with your family and your friends. Really bring the guests into it. Have the full transparency, but let them know like this exact moment of the energy and the excitement and the friends and the love and the fun. That's why we're doing this. It's not about the love of the couple. The couple has already expressed their love and desire and commitment. This is them sharing it with all of you. And that's what this is. A reaffirmation, a retelling. If there were some really cute pieces of the original day, possibly weave them in if it makes sense. But if not, it's full transparency that this wedding is for the party, is for the family, is for the guests. There's the partial share. Couples who kind of land right in the middle. Family and friends know. Great Aunt Hildy does not. So a lot of times I'll work with the couple on what makes the most sense for them so that they don't feel like they're getting the same thing twice. And we can do some slight language adjustment, like focusing less on today is the beginning and more of today is a continuation of your love. Little shifts, subtle shifts, they matter to the couple. Doesn't really matter to the audience. It's like a fun fact of, oh, wait, they're already married than it is like the announcement and the headline. So then you've got the last option, which is nope, they are never to know. It is private, private. They don't need to know that we got married. They don't need to know the when, the how, the why. To everybody outside of the couple, this is the wedding. This is the day. And that is totally okay because the ceremony is still real. The vows are still meaningful. The legalness, it's just already done. That's it. And at the end of the day, the truth is the legal paperwork isn't what makes a wedding feel like a wedding. It's what makes a marriage legal, but it doesn't change how a wedding has to feel. So the ceremony could be exactly like any of the other ones, fully present, intentional, celebratory, the energy, the moment. We capture it all within the wedding. And the legalness was literally just that, the legalness. So, how to navigate a twofer as a professional? I'll take it from the officiating end. Would love to hear any other vendors out there who have twofers, whether it's, you photographed the small wedding and then you're doing the big wedding. Would love to kind of get some perspective there. But I always try to ask the right questions, not just of the couples who book me from the get-go, knowing that's going to be a twofer, but of any of my couples, because sometimes they are already legally married. They had somebody else for that portion. And then if they say like, oh yeah, we eloped, cool, who knows? Is this something that's public? Is this something that you want everybody to know? And even for the ones where I'm the officiant for both parts, the very important question to ask is, how do you want this day to feel? Do you want it to be, and this is the performance for the guests and the audience, do you still have touches that you want that are very unique and personalized to you? Where do you want to go? Because maybe your first one was 3 lines and you would have rathered 5. So this ceremony is going to be the 10 and make up for the 5. However you want it to be, we can make it happen. And we work to honor both experiences. That first ceremony mattered. No matter how publicly known it is or how small it was, still mattered. The second celebration deserves every much the same time and intention, even if there's nothing legally happening. Third, I really like to be flexible with language. And I also do this with like second weddings, vow renewals, things like that. Words like beginning, first, and finally might not ring the best in the ceremony because it kind of seems to overshadow, especially for the couple who've already been living and loving, legally married for a bit now, that they maybe didn't do it the first time. No, you totally did. You totally did. So I like to think of words like continuation, celebration, witnessing. That might be a key bit that wasn't done the first time around. It's a small shift, but it really keeps that second ceremony authentic to where it's going. And I always remember that, yes, if I was hired for a twofer or any one ceremony, I have a legal role to play, and I play it. But for the second ceremony, where I'm not needed for that legal role, I still have a role. I'm there to tell the story. I'm there to celebrate with the couple. I'm there to kind of guide the ship on the course that they set, that they wanted for their day. And honestly, I don't see this trend going away. There was a time after COVID when everyone was so eager to get back to just like the one wedding. And that was awesome. And I think 2023 and 2024 really saw that. But this hasn't gone away. There's less, far, far less, because it's not out of necessity as it used to be. But I don't see a marry now, party later changing at all for so many reasons. And there's more and more every day that I think of. Phone calls that I get from couples, whether it is the states or the Supreme Court overturning a decision and the couples are worried about the future impacts for themselves or their family and want to get married, plan something later. Whether it is death or births within a family that are prompting or being the catalyst for quick weddings and marriages. I think a lot of it is still very intentional because couples are realizing they don't have to fit everything into one day because there's a lot to fit in there. There's the legal paperwork. There is religious aspects that you might have within the ceremony. There is the ceremony. There's the traditions that come along, first dances and seating charts. And if this helps to break out one of those pieces of the legal from the logistics, why not do it? The private facing side from the very public facing side, the intimate from the extravagant. And that's really cool because when they elect to do that, they're creating experiences that are more aligned with who they feel they are. And honestly, there's a sigh of relief when on your wedding day, you don't have to remember the marriage license. Just a thing. You can breathe. You can remember something else. Put your brain to better use. It's kind of great. I would love to hear how other wedding professionals who do twofers kind of get approached. What does your process look like for it? And for couples, just remember there's no one right way to do it. There's also been a few occasions I've had where it's been the celebrate now and marry later because either the license wasn't together in time or you're having some reservations, but you are not seeking to cancel a wedding. You just want to get that piece done, let everyone believe and think that that's exactly what's going on, no problem at all, and get the legal taken care of later. There's no right or wrong answer. Thank you so much for listening into The Wedding Wear. Please make sure that you share this episode out. Until next time, this has been Amanda. Thank you for listening to The Wedding Wear with Officiating by Amanda. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and found some inspiration or insight for your own special day. This podcast is hosted on Buzzsprout and can be found on all major platforms. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, comment, and share to help us reach even more listeners who might laugh a little at The Wedding Wear. For the links referenced in the show, visit Linktree at Officiating by Amanda. You can also follow the business on Facebook, Wedding Wire, and The Knot to stay up to date on everything going on. If you have a question you'd like me to answer on the podcast, just send an email to theweddingwearpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're ready to inquire about officiating services for your own big day, you can reach me at officiatingbyamanda@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, this has been Amanda.